initiative is kind of what you're talking about, that initiative to go out and do something and to make the connections and make yourself more marketable and make yourself better.
Yeah.
And that goes further than a resume does.
Yes.
I see that.
So Cari, thanks for coming on the video interview with us, and we would like to know about your story.
All right, happy to be here. So I am an IT recruiter based in St. Louis, Missouri. I've only lived here about 3 or 4 years, but I lived in Washington, D.C. for about 10 years prior to that, and have worked my way through different areas of IT and operations, from the individual contributor in the field to now recruiting for the field.
So Cari, so you actually work for NetFX.
I do.
Do you want to talk a little bit more about what you do here?
So NetFX is an IT recruiting company, and what we do is we work with our clients who have asked us for help in recruiting talent for IT positions, primarily based here in St. Louis.
Yep. So shout out to NetFX. Actually, my first role at MasterCard was through NetFX.
Oh, nice, nice. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So, okay, well, let's dig into some of the questions that we had. So you're a recruiter, you work with a lot of talent here in St. Louis area, a lot of people in tech. So developers, business analysts, Agile coaches, Scrum masters, business analysts,
project managers, back-end, front-end, UI, UX, all of those fields.
Yeah, and I just wanted to ask you a quick question. Whenever people say IT, people automatically assume that they have to know how to code.
That's not true at all.
Can you give like a spectrum of like what does different jobs look like?
Yeah, so there can be everywhere from the top down. So the project or program manager is basically managing the tasks and the people associated with those projects or programs. So developing a new website or a new software application would be a project or a program. And then the people underneath that would be the business analysts and the integration analysts and then the developers as well, who all are working as different aspects of that. But a BA or business analyst or even a QA, a quality assurance analyst, doesn't necessarily do anything in the code. They just work alongside to make sure that the software is doing what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, and a lot of our students come from finance or non-tech, and they that's the initial assumption is, I don't know how to code. But yeah, I've in my last 7 years, I've worked as a business analyst. I've done some quality assurance. I've worked as a Scrum master. I've worked as an Agile coach. I've actually done some development. I've done some DBA work. DBA is a little bit more technical, but yeah. So it's
a lot of them aren't really highly technical, though.
100%.
You just have to be able to work with the technical people.
Yeah.
And understand what it is. And this day and age, we've all got a phone, we've all got computers, we've all got laptops, tablets, whatever else. That's all technology. So every application you're clicking on had a team of people that helped build it, of which really only the developers were the super technical ones.
Yeah. And Cari, so for what we do at Agile Coach is we actually coach people. We take them through a 3-month learning cohort on business analysis, Scrum Master, product owner, or a product manager or a quality assurance. We're also kind of looking into data science courses.
Oh, very cool.
So yeah, those are some of the things that we actually teach at Agile Coach. So some of the information how to become them. You don't necessarily have to just go to school only. There's a lot of resources on the web. There's a lot of courses. We actually published a few courses around these topics as well.
You actually brought up a good point because you mentioned the data.
Yeah.
Data falls under IT typically as well. So analyzing and understanding what data means and what the data is reporting on falls under the IT capacity.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily technical. It's analytical.
So let's do a little bit more deep dive. So this is a employees market, right? However, every day, every week, let's say in a weekly basis, I get 2-3 people saying, I'm graduating, or I'm looking for a job, and people are still struggling. So why that?
A lot of that has to do with how are you looking for a job? What are you doing for yourself to set yourself apart from other people also looking for a job? Because right now, we're right at graduation time. You're not the only graduate. So there are I don't know the statistics, but I'm sure there's tens of thousands of new graduates in your same field. So taking some extra steps and working to improve your marketability in the market, whether that be working with someone to help you to write the resume, or working with somebody like you who can help take them through an extra certification course, or an extra classes, even online different courses that you can take where you can develop your further understanding of some specialty within your area.
100%. So on that point, so there is a lot of demand for tech talent, and this is where I see a lot of people in other field like finance. I was just talking to an international student who's in finance, and it's really hard for him to get a job. And I've talked to people in sales. It's okay market, but typically in IT, there are a lot of jobs. And one of the things that I see is people are just scared to apply, or they just don't know how to, or they're just applying with their one page something in the resume,
summary resume,
and then it's not getting picked up because you obviously don't want just a one page.
Right.
Unprepared resume.
Right. I'm a believer that your resume should be, the size of your resume or the length of it should be reflective of the amount of years of experience you have.
Yeah.
So if you're a new graduate who maybe hasn't done much as far as internships or extra work goes, then one page might be appropriate. But if you've been working for 2+ years and you have more than one position, it should probably be more than one. Because what in the technical world, at least, it's very hard to quantify the amount of experience in all of the things that you did and all of the types of duties that you worked within on one page. Because as a recruiter, what we do is we have to go and compare your resume to the job description. And we have to understand, did they do this? Yes or no? Did they do this? Yes or no? Did they do enough of this? If you've worked for even 2 years or 5 years, but the job description is asking for 2 years experience in X skill, you need to make sure that you have that skill listed for at least 2 years worth of jobs on your resume.
100%. So, and the way that I feel about the longer pages, obviously if you're in university, let's say if you're in Washington University or St. Peter's University and you go to the Career Center, obviously the advice that you're going to get is have a one-pager. That's advice that the employers who come to the career fair that they have given, right? So it's typical in that environment that you have a one-pager. However, if you are applying to job in a job pool that's outside of your university connections, they actually typically want your experiences a little bit more elaborated.
Right.
And here's the advice that I give people. It doesn't have to, even if you're a graduating student right now, all it takes is just a little bit of creativity. A lot of the roles in non-coding side, they require some kind of analysis skills, some kind of interviewing skills in terms of gathering requirements, some kind of facilitation skills, dealing with conflict. So these are how did you deal with somebody who's difficult, right?
Right.
And you don't need a full-time job and be working for a year to be able to have those experiences. You can literally go to T-Rex, which is a startup incubator,
downtown
co-working space, or you can go to Venture Cafe. You can actually, in one evening, you can meet somebody who has a startup, and you can say, "Hey, I'm pretty sure you have a successful startup. You're overwhelmed. Can I do something small as a pro bono work for you?" And in a week, you can actually acquire these skill sets.
Right.
With a little bit of mentorship and guidance and a little bit of research. And then you can actually have that portfolio in your resume where you said, let's say for example, somebody wants to go to business analysis, they could do some business analysis or do some project management. So times are different. Now it's so much, if you're creative, it's so much easier to fill up your resume with the right skill sets.
Right.
The other thing that you can do that I advise our students is you can actually have an Upwork profile and you can do more contract roles on Upwork.
Right.
You can do business analysis, you can do some writing, technical writing, you can write a blog for somebody. There's so many things you can do.
Gig economy. I mean, just like Uber and Lyft, you can go out and acquire the skills that are necessary for a job in doing it on a part-time or contract or one-time basis. But at least to get the experience out there so that when you're in an interview, you can talk about the experience you had and how you did it and how you overcame objectives or how you went through, removed impediments, things like that.
Yes, and thinking one big thing is like thinking about the customer. That's like, how do you think about your user base, right? For that skill set, you can literally go to any small business and look at their look at their website. Usually they're really not that good looking, right? It's just let's say you go to a restaurant, it's pretty much one PDF thing that's uploaded. So you could just do a little bit of research and just have a quick website up in Wix or even these non-coding ways. And now you have an experience of interviewing a customer. Who are their customer? What do they want?
Gathering the requirements, getting the specifications, and creating the solution.
Right, and I've been in the hiring committees and I've actually sat in a lot of hiring events. And if somebody comes, maybe they don't have a lot of experience, but somebody comes and says, "Hey, I don't have 7 years of experience, but here's what I've done with my skill set, and I've done these small things to acquire the skill sets, and here's a story." Obviously that is a bright guy, but and I can pay him 40% less than somebody who is a lot more
But getting a foot in the door and working initiative is kind of what you're talking about. That initiative to go out and do something and to make the connections and make yourself more marketable and make yourself better. And that goes further than a resume does.
Yes.
I see that a lot. I see people who, it's just a matter of providing that introduction. When we send a resume to a client, we send them the why are we sending you this resume. It's a summary of why I think you should talk to this person. As a hiring manager, you should talk to this candidate because, and it's those things that you personally can't necessarily quantify on a resume. But we can help them understand, because those soft skills, as we call them in the industry, can go a lot further than any hard technical skill.
Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. We will sure to come back with more exciting videos on Agile topics.